All right, good morning and welcome to the December 10th regular school board meeting, at which time I'm going to call it to order. This morning we have an invocation from Horton Towns, who is a director of Handy Capable Ministries at St. Paul United Methodist Church. Good morning. Would you please stand?
Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the beauty of this day. We're thankful for all that have assembled here today. We especially pray for the school board. May they use discernment, wisdom, and patience in their deliberations today. Bless the superintendent, the area superintendent, all the administrative staff that serves here faithfully. We don't want to forget either, oh Father, the principals of every school that's a part of this district. We also ought to remember all the teachers that make up the district here. Father, we should not ever forget either all those who work with the counselors and those. Also, Father, we ask that you would bless in a powerful way the students, bring peace to them. Also, Father, we would also ask that you would be with all of those who are gathered here today. And we ask that also you would bless the parents and the guardians of all the students. May all these different people they have mentioned today, oh Father, may they work in peace and harmony. And in closing, we would ask that you would grant your peace, your strength, your power, your love and your encouragement to each of these people, not only for today, but for all the days ahead. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. It is an absolute delight and an honor to be here with you. East Lake High School Madrigals today.
Okay.
In the middle of their busy Christmas season, we have one seasonal song to share with you, Jingle Bells. See? 1, 2, 3.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha ha ha! Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. I jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride a one-horse open sleigh. Now the ground is white, go it while you're young. Take the girls tonight and sing a sleighing song. Just get a bobtail bay, 240 for his speed. Then hitch him to an open sleigh and crack, he'll take the lead. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, and what is fun in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing laughing all the way. Ha ha ha! Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Hi, jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Thank you. And those are the Madrigal Singers from Eastlake High School, with under the direction of Mr. Robert Knabel. And smiling out in the audience is the principal, Carmela Haley. Every time I looked at you, you were smiling bigger and bigger as they were singing. And Mr. Towns, thank you very much for bringing the invitation this morning. We appreciate that very much. And now, during the holiday time of Thanksgiving, students across the district are learning how to develop a gratitude mindset and how important it is to express and share their thankfulness. Let's take a look at Brooker Creek Elementary School's gratitude campaign and see how their students are building a more positive and successful school community.
The gratitude campaign that we have each year at Brooker Creek gives us the opportunity to notice the good in our day and show our gratitude for it, be it people, our community, our building, our school, anything. The concept of gratitude is important to us because it references really our mindset and how we're going through the day. It leaves quite an impact on our entire school year.
Well, the gratitude campaign is really important because it shows kids why you should be grateful. To be in a good mood, we try to show kids that you could be in a positive mood and you can just focus on the great mindset.
It can help with your schoolwork because if you're more positive, then maybe you can achieve more in your grades or maybe with your friends, or even be more focused on your work because you're more happy.
Actually, our student council reps have led us in grade level assemblies. They also have taught us how to write You Matter letters. A You Matter letter is a letter that you write personally to someone to tell them how much they matter to you and why. We encourage students to share them, not just hand the letter off, but maybe even take the time to read it to someone. My favorite part of the gratitude campaign are the moments that I see we have gratitude spots around the campus. And as people move around the campus, whole classes or even students running an errand or staff members, you'll see people stop on the spot. And you're supposed to either share in that moment to someone or just say to yourself something you're grateful for.
It makes me happy every time that I see everybody step on the gratitude campaign spots.
The big thing that students, and it's really not just students, but it's our entire school community gets out of this, is how much good we have in each of our days and how much we impact each other in our interactions. Not every moment of every day is going to be good, but there will be good in every day.
I just think it's a really great idea for schools to have because it just helps the kids so much. Kindness is contagious. Spread it everywhere.
And that's a good message for each and every one of us to remember. But very exciting that it's going on there. All right, now we'll have the introduction of professional and community organization representatives by Beth Herendeen, our Director of Strategic Communication. Good morning.
Dr. Grego and staff. This morning it is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. With the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, President Mike Gandolfo. Representing SEIU and the Florida Public Services Union, Rebecca Dean, Talmadge Andrews, and Isaline Boston. From the Pinellas Arts for Complete Education Coalition, Madeline Dunsizer. And we do not have any members of the media in attendance this morning. We do have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibility Committee. Please welcome from Eastlake High School, Brianna Casey, Rachel Daggett, and Spencer Greenwood.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Spencer Greenwood. I am the senior class president at East Lake High School, and I'd like to introduce you to East Lake Student Government Association President Rachel Daggett, our senior class vice president Brianna Casey, and it is our honor to be here today and to represent our student body. I'd like to first start off discussing East Lake High School's academic achievements. During this past year, our students took 1,500 AP exams and averaged the highest score in the county. According to U.S. News & World Report, East Lake is rated the 74th public high school in the state of Florida. Newsweek also rated East Lake in the top public high schools with a STEM program. In addition, we also have an expanding collegiate program that allows students to earn their AA degree while also obtaining a high school diploma. This allows students to get ahead of their education. Our wall-to-wall programs ensure an exceptional high school education. Our 4 programs include the Engineering Academy, the Biomedical Academy, the Business Academy, and the Visual and Performing Arts Academy. Our flagship program at the school is the Engineering Academy. The program has grown significantly over the last year. We grew from 220 freshmen entering in 2018 to 260 freshmen entering the prestigious academy in 2019. The Engineering Academy will be introducing new classes in the upcoming year, and they will heavily focus on robotics, giving students the opportunity to engineer robots on their own and allow them to learn the techniques of coding and programming. The Academy will also be introducing a new artificial intelligence club, which allows students to use the AI technology in order to program and develop robots. This will permit students to practice their newfound knowledge. Finally, during the summer of 2020, the students on the Academy's robotics team will be visiting the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to further expand their knowledge about artificial intelligence. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Brianna Casey.
Hi, my name is Brianna Casey. I'm the senior class vice president, and I will be talking a little bit more about some of our academies. Our Biomedical Academy happens to be the fastest growing throughout our school. Last year, they hosted a biomedical synopsis that allowed students to listen and speak to doctors, nurses, therapists, and lab technicians. This experience broadened the students' perspective of the medical field. In addition, every year the students have the opportunity to become a certified biotechnician lab assistant. This certification gives students the possibility to be employed as a lab technician after high school and to utilize their skills and knowledge accumulated throughout their years at the academy. In our Business Academy, our students have taken trips around the country to places such as New York City and San Francisco, during which they visited corporations such as Google, Apple, and Facebook. Every year, certifications are awarded to students who pass exams in Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. These certifications are related to their fields of study such as digital information technology and creative design. Last year, Eastlake had over 600 certificates given out to students. Finally, yet importantly, I would like to highlight our Visual and Performing Arts program. This includes our multiple band programs, art, and theater. So far this year, the marching band has received straight superiors, which is the highest score possible. This award was only 1 out of 4 given in the district. Our orchestra program has received straight superiors 2 years in a row at the district level and received an excellent at the state level. Our chorus program has traveled and performed in spectacular places such as Carnegie Hall in 2019, San Francisco in 2018, and France in 2017. With the theater program just finishing up their production of See How They Run, they are now preparing for their springtime production of Shrek. Our theater troupe just returned from the district competition, receiving 26 ratings of superior and 4 Critics' Choice, the highest award given, qualifying them to compete at the state level. Next up is Rachel Daggett.
Hi, I am Rachel Daggett, the Student Government Association President. In addition to our phenomenal academics, our athletic programs are also rated highest in the county. Last year, Eastlake was awarded the highly coveted and prestigious Superintendent's Cup for the strongest student athletic program in the county. Eastlake's diverse student body includes students from over 30 countries and foreign exchange students. In order to create a sense of community, we have over 60 clubs for students to partake in. Getting involved in a club is a great way to meet and get to know other people throughout our school. Students can get involved with a variety of clubs from student government, Interact Club, International Club, or an honor society. There is something for every person. For example, Eastlake's Blue Crew includes participation from all grades and includes supporting our school's sports teams. In addition, with the help of our Peer Connectors Club, we ensure students feel connected and safe by showing and escorting freshmen around the school during their first week of high school. Having a sense of community and being connected is highly valued at our school. Eastlake's community involvement is one of the highest in the county. With over 22,000 community service hours completed by our senior class alone, we have helped organizations such as the Ronald McDonald House, Suncoast Primate Sanctuary, and Habitat for Humanity. We also participate in canned food drives, clothing drives, and toy drives in order to give back to our community. These programs offered at Eastlake give students the opportunities needed to excel beyond the classroom and create social connections throughout the school. On behalf of our student body, we would like to thank you for listening to our current state and affairs at Eastlake High School. And as we always say at Eastlake, life is better at the lake.
Thank you very much. We always appreciate the opportunity to hear what's going on in various schools, as well as go see them when we come to visit. So thank you for sharing, and you did an excellent job. And Ms. Haley, would you stand again before you leave and all of you run back to school to allow us to thank you for all that you do for the students at Eastlake also. So thank you very much. All right. Dr. Grego, are there any amendments to the agenda?
We have one amendment to the agenda, Madam Chair and school board members, and it's one that I placed into the electronic agenda at the end of last week. We were very happy that we were able to finally get an approve of negotiated agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. So that has been placed in the agenda under 8.2.
All right, thank you. Regarding the amendment to today's agenda, I find good cause to amend the agenda by adding the new consent item 8.2 to approve the tentative agreement from the Fraternal Order of Police and to renumber any other agenda items appropriately. And board members, are there any items from consent that you would like to pull at this time? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to accept the agenda as amended? Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept the agenda as amended. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. And we now will move forward with an amended agenda. Thank you. Dr. Grego, I'm going to ask the board members to go down front if you would do the presentation for the next two items.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So as the board members make their way down to the front of the dais, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Kevin Hendrick, who's the Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, who will be making the presentation of some guests that we have here, and it's the 2019 Student Design Medal of Honor coins.
Board members, I'm pleased to be with you this morning. As you recall, 2 years ago, the Medal of Honor Convention approached us about a partnership around character education as they were hosting the Medal of Honor Convention in Tampa Bay in October of 2019. And I can say that this has been a tremendous community partnership for our teachers and our students and our schools. This morning we have some guests from the Medal of Honor Convention that Mr. Matt Bloom is going to introduce to you, but I want to take this time on behalf of the board and our school district to thank the Medal of Honor Foundation for the great partnership, the lasting impact that they have had on our community by hosting this convention in Tampa Bay. As Mr. Bloom comes up, I'd also like to thank him. Every one of these projects has somebody doing the real work behind the scenes, and that person is Matt Bloom, who recognized the value of the character education program and gained tremendous momentum with teachers to implement it. Mr. Bloom?
Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff, it's been a pleasure to be able to be in front of you a couple of times and update you on our work. The work that we have done with our teachers and our students has been made so much more impactful by the support of the Medal of Honor Convention Committee. And specifically, I'd like to welcome Major General Larry Martin, retired U.S. Air Force and the 2019 Convention Chairman, as well as Paula Meckley, the Director of Character Education Programs for the Convention.
Thanks, Matthew.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Grego, members of staff, we come to you, I was impressed by the presentation by the students at the elementary school about gratitude, because that sums up our attitude for coming to you today. A moment of background for all of you. There have been 40 million Americans who have worn their nation's uniform since the Civil War. Since that time, 3,506 have been honored by being awarded the highest award for valor that our nation gives, the Medal of Honor. 71 of those gentlemen are still alive, and the last week of October, 46 of them visited the Tampa Bay area. There was a lot that went on during the convention around town with an NHL game, dinners at fabulous restaurants, wonderful concerts. But the highlight of the entire event was the opportunity for these gentlemen to visit schools in the area. The Character Development Program, a program that centers on the characteristics of courage, of commitment, of integrity, sacrifice, citizen, and patriotism, visited over the last 2.5 years, led by this woman here, Paula Meckley, our Director of Education, and with partnerships with folks like Matthew and with your team, trained about 1,000 teachers in the area, and we impacted about 100,000 students as we went through, and the work's not done as it goes through. The gentleman visited the schools during the middle of the convention. We visited about 20 schools in the area, and that was the highlight. To put this in perspective, the Medal of Honor Foundation Society has conducted these programs for about a decade. The Tampa Bay region impacted more students in 2 years than every other program in the last decade combined. Wow. With phenomenal work that went on. A central part of this was the creativity of the teachers and of the students that went in. In highlighting these characteristics, you might say this is just a social studies or an English project. We had more creativity than we could count, and one of the projects that really hit it off is what Paul is going to show you right here, which is the idea of taking one of the characteristics and asking students in their own words to come with what it meant to talk about specifically commitment, sacrifice, or citizenship. And they designed a military challenge coin. Many of you have seen this, we in the military would carry. What you see in the coin and the design was student design, and more important are the words that went next to that, how they linked the idea of that characteristic to something in their own words. We're sorry the students couldn't come with us today. They're in class where they should be today with that, but these are their words. And what we like to present in the black shadow box are the coins that we had minted to give. We took a number of those coins, and to each of the principals of the schools, we gave a set of those coins so that the principals might, when they noticed the student who followed that characteristic, reward the student with the characteristic and give them some positive reinforcement. It was our honor to do that. And so we like to present these to you today for your display with the coins and with the student art that was done. That student art, by the way, was shown down at the Straz Center. It was shown throughout the convention. I'll simply say this: the gentlemen, when they got done, the Medal of Honor recipients came back, and they were kind of agog as they came back from talking to your students. They're used to going to students and sometimes having the students fall asleep or fidget or do different things. The students in your schools were engaged. They knew what was going on, and you could hear a pin drop in the classroom as these gentlemen talked. And then when they were done talking, we had to fight to get them out of the schools because the kids kept asking questions. Folks, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the heart and soul of the Character Development Program here in our three-county area, Ms. Paula Meckley. And Paula's got a special presentation that she'd like to make.
Good morning. And again, thank you so much. School board members, Superintendent Grego, when I met with him 2 years ago and said, this is what we want to do, he was like, we're all in. We're in. We want to do it. So as the director of the Character Education Program and the 2019 Medal of Honor Convention Character Education, I wanted to thank this district for your support. It has been an amazing rollout of this character development program, and it wouldn't have been possible without the support of your superintendent staff, and your schools and your teachers and your students. The Tampa Bay Medal of Honor Convention is proud of the unprecedented participation by the area schools and their teachers. The National Medal of Honor Society has never seen such a level of enthusiastic support of this program, and this is due to the efforts of your teachers and staff who use the curriculum to create a sense of place in their schools that not only promotes academic learning, but teaches community over self, integrity and commitment, and produces students who are citizens that care about each other and want to make a difference in this world. So thanks to the Tampa Bay Lightning Foundation, this program and all the curriculum, the trainings, and all the extra things were at no cost to your district. There was zero cost. It was all supported by the Tampa Bay Lightning Foundation. Kevin Hendricks, thank you for all your support and for just the organization behind this. But the implementation and all the hard work for this goes to one special person, and that is my friend Matthew Bloom. He worked tirelessly to make sure this happened. He worked with your schools, the students, the teachers, the principals, came up with some great ideas that we implemented in other school districts, and it has just been an amazing program, and thank you, Matthew.
Okay, that's perfect.
Oh, we have one more.
Employee introduction.
Board members, our second presentation is that of introduction of newly appointed administrators. We have one this morning, and I'd like to call upon Isabel Mascarenas, Public Information Officer, and ask her to come up and be greeted by the board. Isabel was appointed Public Information Officer effective November 13th of 2019. She began her career in media communications in 1988 and served as a TV reporter journalist at WTSP Channel 10 News from 1995 to the May of 2019. Ms. Mascarenas' background also includes serving as a TV reporter, weekend anchor in Fort Myers, and she's earned her bachelor's degree in mass communications media studies from Barry University. Welcome, Isabel Mascarenas. That concludes our presentations. I saw you.
Like, okay.
Oh, you left the coins down there. All right.
All right, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege as chair to make one more presentation that is not on the agenda. Recently, Dr. Grego and some of the staff and Ms. Flowers and I went to Kentucky for the Council of Great City Schools Conference to do some of our personal and professional development, and also some of our staff actually presented. But one of the highlights of the evening while we were there was an award that they give every other year to school board members, a Green Garner Award. It goes to superintendents one year, the following year school board members, and it rotates back and forth. We were very, very fortunate in Pinellas County to have a finalist for the Green Garner Award. And at the awards presentation and the selection, we had a trophy that was presented, and I would like to present it to Renee Flowers, our board member, who is one of the top 10 board members in the country for, and recipient of the finalist for the Green Garner Award. Thank you. So congratulations, it finally came. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. And it's well deserved.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, so they got me.
Yep.
They got me. Thank you.
And that thing weighs about 45 pounds, I think. It's a beautiful, beautiful award. So, you're very, very welcome. Very welcome. All right, we will now go to public comment. During this time, there are several opportunities for people to address the board. We have an opportunity right now for anyone who would like to speak to any and all of the agenda items. You're given 3 minutes to do so. At the end of the meeting, after it's adjourned, we will have the opportunity for people to speak to any items that pertain to the business of the district that have not been put on the agenda. During this meeting, we will also have an opportunity for, when you'll hear me say this is a second reading, people will have the opportunity to speak specifically to that agenda item. So what we're going to do right now is to have people come that have asked to speak to any of the agenda items other than the second readings. So, Ms. Simonetti, do we have any speakers?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have 2 speakers this morning for specific agenda items. Laura Bentz will speak to consent number 20. Mark Clutho will speak to consent number 23, 24, 25, and 26.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Grego, school board members and staff. My name is Laura Bentz, and I'm a longtime volunteer and spokesperson for Belle of the Ball and a former retired 35-year employee of Pinellas County Schools. It's my pleasure to be here today to thank you again for your support of Belle of the Ball. By again renewing our lease at the Holt Avenue facility, it's because of that we're able to reach our mission. Our mission is to make sure that no girl misses the opportunity to go to a school dance because of their financial difficulties. So thank you again for that. We provide prom and homecoming dresses to needy girls, and because of our outreach, we're able to help 5 different counties in the Tampa Bay area. Our person who started us, Susan Swartz, in 2003, has helped us through many years with many supporters, many volunteers, many sponsors, and we have given out 7,000 dresses since we started. And last year we gave out 648. Because we have such varied sponsors and organizations that help us and our volunteers, oftentimes we collect many more dresses than we need. We have a great sponsorship with one of the local cleaners, Sun Country Cleaners, and we have 40 locations that collect dresses throughout the year. Because of that, we were able to actually give out 2,000 dresses to, other than just the girls that we gave out to other organizations in this 5-county radius that serve the same kind of purpose. So we really spread it out amongst many different organizations. Thank you again.
Good.
Because of this facility, I think we have a premier location. We're able to keep the dresses in a place year-round, and we really, really appreciate your support. Thank you again.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good morning.
Mark Lutho, Largo, 723. Strategic direction, learning in a safe environment. $40 million. 724, learning in a safe environment. $15,600,000. 725, strategic direction. An effective and efficient use of resources, $15,430,000. And then 726, strategic direction, effective and efficient use of resources, $1,835,000. Chiller replacements. Oh, yeah. But you have the stupid buildings. All stupid buildings. And then what do you have? You have the cause and effect. So what does the headline say? A world speeding dangerously close to a tipping point. That's the headline. Climate change and its effects are accelerating, scientists say. It's more urgent than ever to proceed with mitigation. Well, making your stupid buildings like we have here, that wouldn't qualify as mitigation. Not even close. It's same old, same old. And it's going to continue getting worse. Here's another headline from yesterday's paper. The outback of Australia is being parched within a drop of its life. All over the world. It's getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. But you keep doing the same thing, ignoring science and burning the taxpayers' money. It's malfeasance. It's stupidity. It's criminal. You just won't stop.
Thank you. All right, we'll now move on to our unfinished business. The public hearing to consider amendment to policy 2410, special services, and 8410, crisis event intervention and response. This is a second reading with no changes since the first reading. Dr. Grego, do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is, as you mentioned, second reading on the special services for crisis interventions. I asked Ms. Bell to just brief the board again. And for all of these, I want the public to know that this board has reviewed each and every one of these second readings initially at a school board workshop.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, community, and staff. 6.1 for the public hearing to consider amendment to policy 2410, special services, and 8410, crisis event intervention and response. The background on this one is that it came out of the 2019 Florida legislative session and has two parts to it. One, it identifies through the state 2 suicide risk screening instruments, and also puts in provisions for being able to become a suicide prevention certified school. And in order to do that, the district had to have these policies, while we always had them, codified in our actual policies. So therefore, the language was added to these two policies to reflect the utilization of an approved suicide risk assessment instrument prior to any involuntary examination due to concerns about a student's suicide risk. It was brought to workshop on September 17th with first reading on September 24th.
Okay, thank you. Are there any speakers for this item?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have one speaker for this public hearing, Mark Clutho.
No? Okay, thank you. All right, so we apparently have no speakers. So, board members, are there any comments or? We're on the one right prior to that. That'll be our next one, okay? All righty. Well, seeing no others, we have a motion and a second to amend policy 2410, special services, and 8410, crisis event intervention and response. This is the second reading. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we're on to 6.2, public hearing to consider creation of policy 5330.02, medical marijuana used by qualified students in schools. This too is a second reading, and if we have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second. Dr. Grego?
Yes, go ahead.
This policy, 5330.02, medical marijuana used by qualified students in schools, is up for public hearing for creation. It was brought to the workshop before the board on October 15th and first reading on October 22nd. This policy is brought forward in alignment with the 2016 vote of the Florida electorate, the 2017 Florida legislation within Senate Bill 8A, and which was also signed by the governor, and Florida statutes 1006.062 section 8 regarding administration of medication and provision of medical services by school district and board personnel. This policy is proposed for creation and includes definitions within. It includes sections on what it means for the administration of such medical marijuana to a qualified student, including, I'm just going to highlight a couple provisions, that no school staff are permitted to administer or store any of the medication, and it is not allowed on the school bus at any time. It also includes sections regarding the responsibilities of a caregiver, and one being that they must maintain and produce the Department of Health Registry ID card. What is new, there was one amendment since the first reading, is the inclusion now of that the request from a caregiver must include the form of delivery and proof of physician's order demonstrating that medical marijuana must be administered during the school day. That was after feedback following first reading, most notably from our school nurses groups. The policy creation also includes the responsibility of the principal and administrators and consequences for rule violation. With that, we bring it for creation.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Board members?
Yeah, I like the amendments.
Medical marijuana used by qualified students in schools. This is the second reading since the first change.
Correct.
So what's to become of the medical marijuana use?
So the creation of this policy codifies what we have been doing on a student-by-student basis. However, due to statutes and obviously legislation, we need to have a formal policy on this. Right. So the vote today would put this formal policy in place for the district.
All right, Ms. Flowers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for some clarification, you stated that the marijuana would not be allowed on the bus. Do you mean not allowed to be taken on the bus or transported? Because if it's a student and there may be some transportation issues with the family, then that's how it's going to get to the school for delivery.
It is actually not on the bus at all, neither transported nor administered on the bus. There are very clear guidelines in which how administration can happen. It has to be at the school in a location that's designated. I know Mr. Kapersky can speak to a little bit more of this, but it's neither. There is no medical marijuana on a bus per this policy.
Allowed for transport. Yes. So for those parents that may have transportation issues or whatever, they just got to figure out how they can get it to the school prior to, so that the student has it available for them if needed.
Well, yes and no. We are not going to store the medical marijuana. So according to the protocols in the policy, the caregiver or some other adult who's qualified must come to the school. If it needs to be administered during the school day, they must bring it with them. And then we will provide a secure and private place for the administration by the adult or other caregiver. And so that is what the clarification also addressed from first to second reading, is we want to make sure that we are truly only dealing with prescriptions that need to be administered during the school hours, that 6 or so hours that the students are with us. And so if the doctor says it doesn't need to be done at school, then the school can work closely with the family and say, well, this can actually be administered before you come to school or maybe right after you get home. But we want to exclude those ones that do not need to be done during the school day.
I just wanted that for clarification because I know that it may not be confusion, but it's just a lot of different variations as it relates to the interpretation of the legislation that was passed. And I know in our workshop we did discuss that, and that we would not be providing a place for storage or anything of that nature, but I wanted that to be clarified so that individuals understood what their responsibility would be as it relates to administering medical marijuana to their children. Thank you.
Good. Mr. Dudley?
Madam Chair, correct me if I'm wrong, this falls in the same category as any other prescribed drug. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. That's why there is a separate policy just for the administration of medical marijuana. There are some prescribed drugs, and I believe Ms. O'Toole is here as well, that we do and can store. This policy is specific to ensure that we are not storing nor administering any medical marijuana.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All righty, good. Do we have any speakers to speak to this item?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have one speaker for this public hearing, Mark Clutho.
Okay, thank you. Nope, okay. No. All right, seeing none. Any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second for the creation of policy 5330.02, medical marijuana used by qualified students in schools. Again, this is a second reading, and there are no significant changes since the first. So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. And we're on to the next public hearing, which is to consider amendments to policy 5410.01, required core curriculum, promotion, retention, acceleration in elementary, 5410.02, regular program core curriculum, promotion, retention, acceleration in middle schools, and 5430, class rank, 5500.05, code of conduct for student attendance, and 6152, student fees, fines, and charges. This is a second reading with no significant changes. We'll go straight to Ms. Dahl.
Yes.
All right, item 6.3 is a series of policies that were brought to workshop on October 15th and first reading on October 22nd. They align most closely with the student progression plan, which is looked at each year, not only by the legislation, but by district staff to ensure we are in alignment and to make any changes if there were things that happened in the year before that we could further clarify within our policy. So I'm going to give a highlight for each one. Policy 5410.01, required core curriculum, promotion, retention, and acceleration for elementary. The proposed change is to add language regarding the state requirements for good cause exemption for English learner students. Policy 5410.02, regular program core curriculum, promotion, retention, acceleration for middle school. Language is added regarding state requirements for the career and education planning for middle school social studies classes. Policy 5430, the class rank, we added language detailing what courses can be omitted for the sole purpose of calculating the valedictorian and salutatorian class rank. Policy 5500.05, the student code of conduct, student attendance. We added language citing legislative standards on student reporting of student attendance. And policy 6152, student fees, fines, and charges, added detailing language regarding the fee for advanced placement exam fees. With that, we bring that for your vote today.
And before we go to speakers from the audience, do we have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second. Are there speakers? No speakers. All righty. Board members, any discussion? All right, then we have a motion and a second to consider the amendment to policy 5410.01, required core curriculum, promotion, retention, acceleration, elementary. We have 5410.02, regular program core curriculum, promotion, retention, acceleration for middle school, and 5430, class rank, 5500.05, code of student conduct, student attendance, and then 6152, student fees, fines, and charges. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no, and it will pass unanimously as well. Thank you. And we go on to, hang on there, we only got a couple more. Public hearing to consider amendment to 5500.10, Code of Student Conduct, disciplinary action, and 8405, school safety. This is also a second reading. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second, okay. We have a motion and a second, and we'll go straight to Mrs. Dahl.
Item 6.4 was brought to you again for at workshop on September 17th and first reading on September 24th. The two policies within, the amended changes are outlined within recent legislation to make sure that we're up to date with all school safety statutes and directives from the Florida Department of Education. So in policy 5500.10, the Code of Student Conduct Disciplinary Action, it updates language regarding disciplinary reassignment and specifically referrals to mental health services when those occur. Policy 8405 around school safety updates the language regarding threat assessment processes and threat assessment team consultation with law enforcement. It also adds language regarding accurate and timely reporting of data for incidents of school safety and discipline.
All righty. Do we have any speakers? No speakers. And I see no lights from the board members. So we will vote. We have a motion and a second to amend, let's see, 5500.10 Code of Conduct, Disciplinary Action, and 8405 School Safety. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And it passes unanimously as well. And our last public hearing is to consider amendments to Policy 6424, Purchasing Cards, and 6320, Purchasing and Bidding. Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right, Ms. Dahl?
All right, and item 6.5, again, was brought to you a workshop on October 15th and first reading on October 22nd. This one has to do with our fiscal management and looking at, and it aligns our processes with our purchasing cards and the district taggable asset limits, as well as aligns with federal grant procurement guidelines. Policy 6424 around purchasing cards, the amendment we're asking for is would raise the single transaction from $749 to $999. And policy 6320, purchasing and bidding, actually aligns with federal grant procurement Chapter 200 of the 2 CFR, allowing micro purchases threshold to be raised to $10,000, and that would change what the district allowable for quote limits would be for the $10,000 limit in alignment with the federal grant procedures.
Very good, thank you. And do we have any speakers? No speakers. Okay, board members, I see no lights, so we will move straight into the vote on to consider the amendment to policy 6420 for purchasing cards and 6320 purchasing and bidding. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. And it passes unanimously as well. Thank you very much. We appreciate your input and as well as keeping us informed as to what and reminding us what we're doing. All right, we have a consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Approval of full consent agenda with no changes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. And it too passes 7-0. We'll now move to non-consent. And 8.1 is request approval of the Memorandum of Understanding with Florida Prepaid College Board. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, this is an exciting program that we started actually last year, a partnership with the Florida Prepaid College Board, and I'm going to ask Beth Herendine to explain the details again, and we are asking the board's permission to engage with the Florida Prepaid College Board once again with Pinellas County. Beth?
Okay,
Good
welcome.
morning again, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. Yes, over the past 30-plus years, Florida Prepaid has sold nearly 2 million plans and helped nearly 500,000 students go to college. Once again, they have reached out to districts across the state to share the message with families that saving for college is important and to promote their open enrollment, which begins on February 1st and goes through April 30th. Pinellas County Schools, along with several other districts, partnered with Florida Prepaid last year, as Dr. Grego mentioned, and we were able to award a 2-year, $8,000 scholarship to Jasmine Robinson, a Gibbs PCCA graduate. Jasmine is currently using her prepaid scholarship at the University of Central Florida, pursuing a degree in music education. Jasmine was a Take Stock in Children student, and while at Gibbs, she served as the clarinet section leader in the band. She participated in the National Honor Society and also the Tri-M program, which focuses on creating future leaders in music education and music advocacy, and is the only National Honor Society for musicians in grades 6 through 12. Jasmine also, during her time here, volunteered with Suncoast Hospice. When told of the award, Principal Reuben Hepburn characterized Jasmine as an amazing young lady who is most deserving of the scholarship. So again, this year, Pinellas County Schools has been asked to participate. The Memorandum of Understanding from this year is nearly identical to last year's. They're asking partner districts to promote open enrollment through a variety of channels that we already use, such as social media, emails, principals out to families and such. And we'll also put a link on our district's website. And then Florida Prepaid, again, will provide to the district a promotions toolkit with graphics and verbiage that's turnkey that we can use, promotional materials in multiple languages so we can reach all of our families, and again, a 2-year, $8,000 college scholarship. So we will again award that to a graduating senior who is planning to pursue a teaching career, and more specifically, a teaching career here in Pinellas County. So there is no cost to the district. Here to answer any questions you have, and we appreciate your consideration.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Madam Chair and
Yes, sir.
school board members, that is our requirement, that they go on to a College of Education.
Yeah.
And even though I can't force them to come back here, we certainly will encourage them with scholarship money that they do come back here. So I think it's a great way of using a 2-year type of scholarship to help one of our own students go to the College of Education, return back to Pinellas County, and teach. So.
Very good. All right, I see no light. So we have a motion and a second to approve the Memorandum of Understanding with Florida Prepaid College Board. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And it also passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
All right, now we have the request for approval of the negotiated agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Okay. And many seconds. So, Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair, and to the board and to the audience, this is our last time we're coming to the board for a negotiated agreement, and so I'm very pleased. And I want to take this opportunity to thank our entire negotiation team this past season. It was very, very successful time with all agencies and all unions, and I just want to say thank you for that collaboration. And once again, thank Paula Texel, who has really led the charge, and so let her explain the details, which you're going to hear a lot of similarities between the other agreements, and so Paula.
Yep. Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. I am here this morning to request approval of the negotiated agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, or FOP. As similar to the other groups that were presented at our last board meeting, the average total compensation for this package is 3.62%. The salary increases for all members of this group will be 3.25%. And as we discussed last time with the other groups also, the employees in the FOP unit will see a slight increase in our health costs this year that were similar to the other groups. And remember, that increase was split evenly between the board and our employees. And in addition, the board will cover their increases in the FRS contribution, which again means no additional costs in that area for our employees. And if it was approved today, it is going to be retroactive, of course, till July 1st, 2019. And all employees will be receiving their raises and retro pay in their December 27th paycheck. I wanted to express a special thank you to Dave Richmond and in payroll and Lisa McCann in compensation and their teams for their work in making sure that these employees are able to receive this check before the end of the year with such a quick turnaround. But we felt it was very important that these employees get their retro check and their increases before the end of the year. So on behalf of our staff and the superintendent's staff, we are recommending for you to approve this agreement with FOP this morning.
Very good. Thank you. Board members? All right. And we're very pleased that we were able to do this, and we do thank you for all of the negotiations that the team has done. It's been a work of love, and at times I'm sure a little difficult, but it's been a long process, and we thank you for hanging in there and working through it. All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the negotiated agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed say no, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, our last non-consent item is to request denial of the charter application for King Charter School. Do we have a motion?
Move approval of administration's recommendation for denial of application.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dr. Grego.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, we bring these charter applications, and I want to continue to remind you and thank staff for their thoroughness in exploring and examining each and every application on its own merit, because these are the lives of children in our community that this board ultimately is responsible for. So this is a request for denial, and so I'm going to ask Mr. Wolf to just explain some of the high-level details of this denial. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to just take a moment before we get into the details to reintroduce Amy Hayes to the board. She's the senior coordinator for our department, and she is instrumental in putting all of this information together. We get a lot of information from a lot of staff members, from the applicant team, and Amy puts all that together. Not only her expertise, also as a former school administrator, so she's plays a big role in this information. So I wanted to have her before you to present this. This item you have before you is a request to deny the charter application for King Charter School. This is the second submission of an application. They submitted an application for the same school in the spring of 2019. The board unanimously voted to deny that application. This is a resubmittal. It is for the same type of school. It's a K-5 charter school. It would serve grades K-5 with the beginning capacity of the school would be 100 students, a little over 100 students, with the full capacity being 360 students by the time their fifth year rolls by. The main focus of the school is a trilingual immersion program, which would be English, Spanish, and Mandarin is the main focus of their program. As you see when you look down the agenda item, the district staff rated the application to have 1 meets the standard, 6 partially meets the standard, and 12 does not meet the standards. These standards are all based on the criteria in the Florida Department of Education's instrument. That's what you see in your packet with that evaluation instrument. So every one of the 22 sections of the application that's reviewed, we look at it juxtaposed to those criteria in there, and that's what is based on results in the ratings. Just in a brief summary of the areas that are of concern, the areas of section 3, 4, and 5 really speak to the educational program. It speaks to the curriculum and the assessment. The application does not demonstrate the capacity to align the educational program, the curriculum. There's a lack of curriculum in the application, and then the measurable outcomes in the section 5 of the application. This is a significant deficit in the application. Those are usually some of the strongest parts of a charter application, and this did not meet that criteria. We have significant concerns with their ESE section, section 6. Again, it demonstrates an overall lack of understanding of services that are required for students with special needs. We have concerns with the governance of the school. That's a section 10. And I'm not going through every single section of the 12 sections. I'm just highlighting some of the major concerns. But the governance is a little difficult to understand. Some of the language in there is not clearly defined, and certainly with the bylaws and the governance of a school, we need to have that very clear and very concise. And you'll see that language throughout this application, throughout the instrument, where it talks about comprehensive, compelling, clear, and concise. And you'll see as you read through that we're just not there in a lot of these sections. And then of significant concern is the budget. The budget, every one of these 12 areas, most of them have some connection to the budget. Staffing is a concern. They mentioned a number of staffing positions that we couldn't ferret out in the budget, and also their startup plan. We think there's a significant deficit in their funding for the first couple of years of this school. So we could not recommend this application to you at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
I also want to recognize Heather Wallace, who is sitting behind there, because she has worked with our staff along with David's department in terms of keeping us on the straight and narrow, but also evaluating with us every aspect of these proposals.
Okay.
I know Mr. Wolf met with each board member, and we had an opportunity to speak and ask questions and go through the application with them. So for that, I appreciate your time.
You're
and
welcome.
you were able to answer all the questions that we had about it. So as we were moving forward. So are there any additional questions or comments? Nope. All right. So the motion on the floor is the denial of the charter application for King Charter School. All in favor of the denial, say aye. Aye. And opposed, say no. And it passes 7-0. Thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate it. You and all of the staff that reviews these. We
There's a
really
lot of
appreciate
staff
it.
involved
It's a
in
good
this process. Yes.
process.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Items introduced by the superintendent.
Yes, Madam Chair. First of all, welcome to the chair position.
Thank you.
And Ms. Long, welcome to the vice chair, too. It's good to, and look forward to a great year together. I'll start off with on a somewhat of a sad note, unfortunately, and that was extend our condolences to Mohammed Haytham family.
Yeah.
Mohammed was a graduating senior in last year at Lakewood High School, and it was a sad weekend. He was 19 years of age and was one of 3 U.S. Navy servicemen who was killed last week at a shooting at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola. As we go through the season of not only Thanksgiving but this winter holiday, and we count our many blessings, and we sometimes also have to recognize the sorrow that's and heartfelt loss of so many families, including Mohammed's family. Mohammed was a graduate of Lakewood High School in 2018 and joined the Navy right after he graduated. He was an outstanding athlete, particularly in track and field. And according to many accounts, Mohammed and many other sailors ran toward this shooter to save the lives of many others. And I want to thank Erin Savage, who over the weekend made herself available to every news media, TV station, and really took a great part of her weekend to answer questions and to pay tribute to Mohammed. So apologize, but that's unfortunate way, but I do want to bring respect to that family and from this board and to this district, greatest condolences. On a brighter note, certainly this past Saturday, we had the 7th grade Pinellas Talented Identification Program. This is the 6th year of doing that, and I want to recognize Dr. Dwayne Hines and Judy Vigu and really all staff members. I was out at a school and I saw all participating middle school principals who showed up there. We started this program as I first began serving as superintendent with about 185 7th graders in 3 sites. We're up to 6 sites and we were over 940 7th graders taking that. That's about 15%, which is tremendous. They sat for the SAT as the 7th grader this past. The parents were connected. Everyone was very thankful to this board for providing the opportunity and access. I also want to thank publicly the Suncoast Credit Union because they provided snacks to every single student as they walked into the test, fruit, drink, snacks, and the 7th graders, many of them were somewhat nervous. Parents were nervous. They all made it, by the way. They all made it home, and they did a great job. And I want to thank our communications department for being out there and recording some of it, and you can be able to watch some of that. But as a board, sometimes you don't see the impact that you're having on elevating excellence. And the PSAT in 8th grade now, that these students who took the SAT in 7th grade, they and all other classmates will be sitting for the PSAT in 8th grade and in 9th grade. And this board supports that journey. And the parents are seeing that and are really saying thank you for investing in our children. The State Department of Education funds the 10th grade, and then we come back for the National Merit Scholar in 11th grade. So we're growing these scholars, and we're really, as the word says, we're elevating the excellence. I hopefully will bring to you good news the following week. We will not be meeting until before that, but the State Department is hopefully will be issuing the all districts graduation rate. Is proposed perhaps next Wednesday or Thursday. So I will get a communication out not only to you first, but then to our press. We certainly see, and I want to thank Dr. Vasquez and Dan Evans, Dr. Evans, and many other staff, Mr. Hendrick, and so many other people, principals and so forth, that have contributed to this rise of our graduation rate. We are seeing that in our calculations that we're going to continue to have an upward trajectory rate, especially with our African American graduates, that we hope to see significantly over 80% for the first time in our history. And so we'll release that when it's official, and hopefully we'll release that next week. Another bit of really good news is for the first time ever, Largo Middle School is now a credentialed or is now an official international baccalaureate middle years program. It went through its accreditation, took the last year and a half. I want to recognize and publicly congratulate Linda Burris, the principal of that school. She's done a phenomenal job. And now we have another IB program, middle years program under our belt, and we're going to continue to work to grow those programs. In the same light, we also are being recognized nationally from our AVID program. AVID identifies national demonstration sites, and to become a national demonstration site, you're on an elite group of 1% of all schools in the United States. The fact that we have 2 high schools in the same district speaks volumes to our commitment to AVID and also the quality of implementation of AVID. And both schools, both at Boca Ciega High School and Northeast High School, were both revalidated this past month. And so I want to say congratulations to both principals and to really their entire staff for doing such a phenomenal job of making us shine in Pinellas County, of having a national demonstration site. We hope to work towards a middle school and elementary. The AVID very much knows and understands our commitment in Pinellas County. The last few things, well, one thing with student-driven is I want to highlight the Clearwater High School Civil Rights Ambassador Planning Unity Gathering and Walk. You know that Clearwater High School, the civil rights ambassadors, they make a trip every year to Selma and also to Washington, D.C. They plan the whole trip. Well, they're coming this year and are building upon it. It's part of their personalized learning course, and that allows students to do the research, allows students to build the project. And each year, as I said, the students go on their spring break to travel to these landmark and visit with families and visit with museums and many other people. But this year, they're planning a unity gathering and unity walk, and they are recognizing and bringing in 30 high school students from every single high school. So we're going to have between 500 and 600 students. We're going to recognize people who've stood up for equality and human rights. We're going to celebrate their impact, and we're going to inspire others to continue this type of work. The event, and I'll place it on the calendar through Ann, it will be held on Tuesday, January 28th, 2020, next year. 9 a.m., the Unity Gathering will be at Clearwater High School, if any of you would like to attend. The keynote speaker will be Linda Blackman Lowry, who's the youngest person to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. She was 15 years of age. And following the gathering, the students will participate in the Unity Walk in downtown Clearwater. And I want to thank Mayor Kritikos and many others who are participating in this and making it a safe march, a safe walk for our students. And I think our students are doing a tremendous job of teaching the adults how to be and how to act, and especially in this topic. So congratulations and really kudos to Keith Masterides, who has really supported his students and supported this event. I will have this on your calendar. If you're able to participate in any of it, I certainly welcome you. Also want to say this is a year after the holidays to start celebrating our teachers and support staff. We do have our Teacher of the Year finalists identified, and we will be doing those interviews, but put on your calendars January 29th at the Mahaffey Theater, and also January 10th for our support employees at the Feather Sound, where we have a typical luncheon to honor our support employees. Lastly, and certainly as important as all the others, I want to wish this board and our general community a really restful, loving, peaceful holiday season. No matter how you celebrate it, just enjoy family and friends, and it's a pleasure to work in partnership with this board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Items introduced by the school board attorney.
I have no items today. Thank you, ma'am.
All righty, good, thank you. And now, board members, are there any of you? Ms. Long?
Yes, on November 15th, I was able to attend the National Adoption Day. You want to talk about a wonderful event, seeing families come together. Not only was I able to participate in the general, but I also had a dear friend who was adopting her 3 grandchildren, and I was able to be part, I was in the jury boxes. They were adopted. To see those children's faces, they've just started attending after Thanksgiving, Garrison Jones. You have never seen such 3 happy and content little boys. Then I had the opportunity last week of going to the Florida School Board Association, and I came out with such an uplifting feeling. We talked about the positivity, and no matter what you face, if it's negative, find the positive. So this holiday season, I am wishing all of you a very relaxing and wonderful season. Find the simplicity in Christmas, or whatever your beliefs are. It's our loved ones. It's the people that we interact with every day. And I'm very grateful this year to be such a wonderful part of Pinellas County School Board. You are all wonderful, all of the staff. I wish you the best of holiday seasons. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Flowers?
Thank you very much. I'll start off with, having the opportunity to attend the Florida School Board Association Conference. And Ms. Eileen and I serve on the legislative committee, and she was in a chairman's training at the time. And but there were no changes as it relates to the platform, no requested changes as it relates to the legislative platform. So of course, FSBA will take its tour on the road to Tallahassee in January. So if you are able to or interested in attending, please make sure that you get with Ms. Ann and sign up to do so. We did have a report from the National School Board Association member from FSBA, and nothing's really moving in Washington, D.C. as it relates to education. NSBA will go ahead with their annual meeting up in Washington, D.C. again in January, but right now nothing else is moving as it relates to Title I funding, ESC programs, or anything of that nature, so there was very little to report. I'm very glad that Dr. Grego, that you touched on Muhammad. He's known as Mo at Lakewood, Hatham, and his heroism. Sometimes we don't give some of our youth credit for the things that they think about and the things that they do. And these 3 young men did not hesitate to act so that they could save the lives of others on that base. And so for me, he's my new hero. Because just the wonderful, magnificent person that he was, a leader in his school. He showed that he was a leader, and unfortunately, he lost his life. Condolences most certainly to his mom, stepmom, and other family members. I know Lakewood is looking at a candlelight vigil, so as that information becomes available, I'll share it with Ann if anyone is interested in attending, just to show our love and support. Not that we don't love and support all of our students, because we can never tell where they will be or what they will come up against. And so we're just so grateful for him. We also lost another student. She had been out of school for a little while, maybe 2 years. She was killed due to domestic violence. Her name was Marquita. Her mom, Miss Willie, started with the Rattlers Little League football team back when I served on city council, and we actually got that project up and running so that the kids within that community would have a ballpark field and would have Little League sports available. Unfortunately, she was stabbed by her stepfather as she entered the home, and then her mom was stabbed as well. So although she has not been in our schools in about 2 years, I just want us to think about her because she also loved tennis and she taught tennis. So she was working with students within the school system who have an interest still in sports. And so she will also be missed because she was also a leader in our community. And then pray for the family of Javarick Henderson. Unfortunately, he's a young man that stabbed his grandmother. 13 years old, never had been in trouble. We don't know sometimes what our children or our students are going through internally. And those of us that are adults, we look good on the outside, but inside we're hurting. And so please keep them lifted up in family. That's got to be difficult when it's your mom that your son took her life. So just keep all of them in your thoughts through this holiday season because it's just really, really difficult. My children lost their grandmother. My ex-husband's mother passed away. And so that made my holiday season kind of a little bit more in turmoil, but just kind of keep Kaisha, Josh, and Jeremy lifted up as well. I had a chance to, it was a busy weekend. I had a chance to attend a Silver Spoon Tea. The Silver Spoon Tea is something that the Dr. Carter G. Woodson African American History Museum does for young ladies that attend Fairmount Park, Lakewood Elementary, Melrose Elementary, Maximal Elementary, and Midtown Academy. And those young ladies get an entire weekend of pampering. They get their hair done. They have conversations about what it is that you want to be. But more importantly, they're partnered with a sponsor, and that sponsor is with them through the entire process. And it culminated with a tea at the St. Pete Country Club. And each girl had to stand up and talk about their sponsor and talk about what they want to do. And then through donations from a number of companies, each one received a watch, a Fire tablet, and a whole lot of other goodies in a bag about this big that I was trying to snitch when I ran out the door. But it was really a wonderful, it was really a wonderful event. But it's geared towards making sure that our young ladies understand that there are people behind them, and to support them, and to never lose sight of their dreams. But what really caught my interest was the number of young ladies that talked about the size of their family, their siblings. One young girl is one of 12, and she's in the middle. So sometimes when we see students who come to school and they're already in a excited mode and whatnot, I just sat there thinking about in the morning how her day probably starts out. But she makes it to school every day and she gives it her very best. And so just continue to support our young ladies. I know many of us go to schools and we support our students and we mentor our students, but sometimes when you hear their backstory, you begin to appreciate them even more. I know I began to appreciate them even more. So kudos to the staff, board of directors, and all of the sponsors. 2 of those sponsors were teachers from our schools. That were there with their students, and they were so excited. So I took a lot of pictures. Y'all know I took a lot of pictures, but I took a lot of pictures. And today on the agenda, it was on consent agenda, but we did pass through our high project priority, moving up some projects at St. Petersburg High School. And so I know that Dr. Carr has students that attend there, and she's very supportive of St. Pete High. And I know Coach Dudley may not, like that or whatever, but but I am really happy because, we're doing a lot for the outside of the school. But when I went there a couple of weeks ago and had a chance to sit with some students, as they were talking about cultural diversity and sensitivity, when you walk through some of the courtyard area and stuff, you see the love that needs to be paid attention to within that school. So I just want to thank staff, and I want to thank all of my colleagues for moving those projects up to work on the classrooms, because that way students will feel good inside and outside about the facility that they attend every day. So sometimes there are things that we pass in the consent agenda. They don't get a spotlight, but we highlight them and pull them out. So I'm just so excited about that. And that's all as it relates to my report. I would just want everybody also to have a wonderful holiday season for whatever it is that you're thankful for. Please continue to be thankful for that and think about the people who don't have even a third of what we have. But for some reason, they find a loving moment or reason to get up every single day and to keep going. And for those people, love on them a little bit more. For our students, hug on them a little bit more. And I look forward to just a wonderful, exciting year in January because I know that there are great things are coming.
Very good, thank you. Dr. Carr?
Thank you. Thank you for pointing out the St. Pete High. I was very excited to see that, and for Mr. Herbert for sharing the plans, which I shared with others who had been asking. I had the opportunity and wanted to express gratitude to North Shore Elementary for organizing their turkey trot. They really have managed to create a wonderful example of a community school with that program on Thanksgiving. So there, and saw a lot of staff there. I know Mr. Hendrick was there. A number of local officials. We had Ben Diamond was there. I know a number of city council members were also there. And Donna Cecilian, I saw her there. So there were quite a few folks out there running. Also, just to acknowledge Mrs. Cecilian, personal record, I believe she set recently and won her age group in a 5K. So not only is she an exemplar for our mental health and wellness, but she obviously is living a life of physical wellness as well. So thank you to being such a great model and example. I'd like to thank Mr. Lawrence for his help with our students. I know there were a number of folks who have reached out to me recently and had to direct to Mr. Lawrence with student assignment, and that this is coming into the very busy season for that entire department. Not that there's ever a slow season, but in terms of the student application period and looking at our schools and working with Discovery Night. So thank you, Mr. Lawrence, for really being so quick to respond and help students get enrolled in our school and make this school, our public schools, their first choice. So thank you very much for that. I also had the opportunity to attend FSBA, which was a wonderful, and I appreciate your leadership in FSBA, Mrs. Cook, because you really represent us well as a district in the state organization. And when newer folks like myself come on board, your having paved the way makes us feel very welcomed and accepted. And I think both you and also the superintendent, having been and served with the Superintendent's Association, really do an excellent job in representing our district at the state level. In addition to that, we had the honor of seeing Mr. Kapersky speak and acknowledge a colleague, and our jovial Mr. Kapersky, who's always the quick with his wit, actually a little bit verklempt, right? There we go. A little bit. And he did a wonderful job to acknowledge his colleague and represented us in the ethics training. And also to Heather Miss Wallace, who presented as well, and I had the opportunity during FSBA to sit in her session. So we definitely had a great representation, and the district really stands out as being an exemplar throughout the state with FSBA. So I wanted to express appreciation for that. I also had the opportunity to attend the Police Athletic League breakfast with Sheriff Gutierrez and Charlie Justice doing the introduction to that. And it was a beautiful event for a great organization to serve a oftentimes underserved area within the county. So I really appreciated that opportunity. They also coordinated at the Lealman Exchange the holiday gathering that I know you were at, Mrs. Flowers, as well, and maybe other folks that also came there. But there were a number of donations made for that food drive, and it was a terrific event. Also to Beth Herendine and her department for oftentimes as board members we're asked to go and participate in different events, and I had the opportunity to serve on the a panel regarding Hispanic education and in our district. And just to thank you very much for being so quick to respond when we're requesting information and to be on top of where we are with certain pieces and elements within the district. So thank you very much for your prompt response. I know some of us sometimes come to you, or I know I came to you in a rather last minute. So I appreciate you getting back to me so quickly. And then lastly, with regards to the holiday season, I always know as a former school counselor how challenging it can be to all of our families as we go into the holidays and as we acknowledge folks who we've lost and are faced with different grief issues or concerns. And then also as we return to school after this holiday season, how we have to reestablish all our positive behavior support systems within the district. So I just hope that everyone gets plenty of rest, relaxation, charge the batteries so that we're ready to go when we come back. So wishing everyone a very happy holiday season, to my colleagues and to others who I always feel like we look out at all of the staff in the back who are here throughout the entire meeting. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Good, thank you. Mr. Dudley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only thing I wanted to do is wish everyone a happy holiday and remember those who are in need. We have many students, believe it or not, that are homeless, and at this time of year, I think it's a great time to reach out and wrap your arms around them, help them any way you can. We are very benevolent and generous people, and what better time to show that than at this time of year. And I wish all of you a blessed holiday, and I just want to set the record straight. When Mr. Herbeck called me and told me about the renovations at St. Petersburg High School, my response was, it's about time. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Ms. Lentino.
Yes, I have my greetings to all the staff, all the teachers, all the administration people out there, and very thankful for having a Jewish New Year and a Christmas New Year and a very happy holiday. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. And Ms. Kane?
Thank you so much. It's been a very, very busy month. A lot of things have been going on since our last board meeting. But probably the biggest highlight for me over the last month was the American teach-in that we did the day after our previous board meeting. I was lucky. I got to teach for 8 different classes that day. I taught all day, from Cypress Woods Elementary on over to East Lake Middle School. And it was it really brightened up my Thanksgiving to receive an envelope from one of those classes just full of notes from all the students. So it's interesting to see what they take out of your presentation, but it was really wonderful. I got a packet from the middle school, and it was wonderful to read, and it just made me so grateful to be a part of what we are part of here, educating children and opening their mind and their world to new opportunities and all of the wonderful things ahead for them in their life. As we go to the holiday season, I just want to wish everyone a wonderful break and holiday. And I hope it is a time also for reevaluation, set new goals, make new aspirations, new dreams, and excitement for the new year. I always love this time of year because we can look back on everything we have done and how far we have come this year, but also look forward to what we hope to do. So I wish everyone a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year as well.
Thank you. As chairman, I feel a little bit like a little article that I saw in the newspaper. There was, in Australia, there was a house that was decorated for the holidays, and it was absolutely gorgeous and just maxed out to the nines. And next door, there was a house that had, in Christmas lights, an arrow with the words next to it saying ditto. So I feel a little bit like that at this point in time, because I'm saying ditto, 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 for all of the things that were done as far as the teach-in and the FSBA, that's our opportunity to get professional development as a board. And so it's really nice when so many of us are able to attend, whether it's for one day or whether it's for the whole conference. But we're very, very proud. As was mentioned, Heather Wallace did one of the classes. Mr. Gapersky did one of the classes, as well as presenting the School Board Attorney of the Year award. But he also did our ethics training for the state.
I have it on video.
And I am telling you, he did, he was involved with the one that was online, but also the one in person. And as much as you can make ethics training fun, he did. He was very good at it, and we thank you so much. You know, the problem is once you do a good job, everybody starts asking you to do the same thing. Like Dr. Grego every election cycle gets hit up to do the new board member training because he does such a good job. So David, I think you'll probably be hearing again. You might. He said he might be busy that day. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for your participation, as well as everyone who has taught those classes. I will add to it, I wish everyone a happy holiday and a very restful vacation. Don't forget to come back. You know, 2020 seems so far away, and this year Christmas and the winter break seems to be coming on so quickly that we hope everybody, in spite of maybe the rush, that you have a time to just kind of relax, regroup, and spend some time with the people you love. So I want to thank all of you for the job you do every single day, and we appreciate it very, very much. And to our students who may or may not see this, we wish them a safe and healthy time. So with that, if there is nothing else, I will adjourn this meeting, and we will move into our evaluation after we hear from the other speakers that are available. So, Ms. Simonetti, do we have any speakers to speak to items pertaining to the business of the board?
Board members and Dr. Grego, we have 4 speakers this morning for general public comments. Our first 2 are Jonathan Graham and Mark Clutho.
All righty. Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you all. I came about 11 years ago and talked about how you all could implement diversity and inclusion in your processes. I saw you broadband some things that you all are doing to bring in inclusion internally, but economically, Pinellas County School District is way behind everyone else. I had a brief meeting with the superintendent, and he asked for some facts and figures. And what I did get the chance to speak with a lot of the African-American board members across the state last week when they were in Tampa. But what I did was just talk or put together, first of all, a whole book of inclusion, diversity, small business programs that are being used in other school districts that you all haven't used here. And first, I'd like to say that I went to St. Pete High School, and all my family graduated from Pinellas County Schools. I live in South St. Pete and have my own business. But just real briefly, just some facts and figures of what is happening outside of this school district. In Broward County, there are 793 registered minority vendors, and $8.9 million are spent every month on small businesses and minority businesses. In Hillsborough County, there's 199 minority businesses that are registered by them, 410 small businesses, $5.7 million are spent every month with them. They do have a diversity policy. Broward County also has a diversity policy. Leon County Schools has a diversity policy, and 323 are registered, with $8.9 million being spent a year with this. Miami-Dade has 884 registered minority vendors, with $310 million being spent every year. Orange County is 880 registered vendors that are minority small businesses, and $480 million are spent a year in 2018 with Orange County schools. Pinellas County, of course, has no registered minority vendors, has no policy, and has no availability of any expenditures for small and minority businesses. Polk County has just put a policy in place, and Alachua County have just put a policy in place and are now having vendors recorded. Pinellas County actually didn't have a policy, and then Mr. Welch demanded one. Out of $400 million that they spent, they had only spent $70,000. And now, since they have the policy 7 months, they've spent $7 million since they put the policy in place.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Waited and waited and waited. TV and lights going on in this room over here. How many times have I said something? You people just waste and waste and waste. Malfeasance. That's the word. That's the word. Here was this article in the Largo Leader. The students from Largo High went over to the Largo City Hall for that big event when Thunberg came over. They should have been over here with a big uproar about why you made that stupid Largo High School. Yeah, that would have been the right thing to do. Slash emissions now, UN warns. So here's this headline. Rest in peace. Koala dies after viral brush fire rescue. Yeah, isn't that a nice headline? You know, that goes with this other one here. The outback of Australia is being parched within a drop of its life. They're talking about the koala becoming extinct. Cause and effect, correlation. You make the stupid buildings belching the carbon. This is what happens. The Arctic, the Antarctica, the wildfires, the sea levels rise. You don't get it? It's sad. It's really sad. Here's the headline from the other day. As seas rise, Florida Keys look to state for support. Yeah, well, those are the same seas that are going to come in to Pinellas County. I'll tell you, you people are stupid. You don't see what's coming, or you just don't care. You act like you care about the children's, but I don't believe it. I really don't believe it.
Thank you.
Our next two speakers are Mike Gandolfo and Jason Saxon.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. We are in an education crisis in this state, and our children are paying the price for more than 2 decades of underfunding and poor policy decisions. It has led to a severe teacher shortage. The situation has to change. Lawmakers must fund our future, and PCTA FESPA members, parents, community leaders are going to Tallahassee by the busload on January 13th to see that our legislators get the message. Anyone who wants in, feel free to contact me. It is important to push for a proposal that increases all salaries. including veteran teachers and staff professionals. As you might imagine, the announcement that the School Board Association and the Florida Association of District School Superintendents endorsing the governor's plan to raise starting salaries and leave veteran teachers out in the cold was greeted with mixed emotions by your employees. This proposal, designed to destroy any unity among educators, is the latest in a long list of divide and conquer schemes that have the effect of keeping funds away from being bargained by the only organization that truly looks out for educators, their union. When your organizations endorse a plan that disrespects loyal years of service, that leaves support staff, clinical services, pre-K, adult ed, and guidance counselors out of the plan, that makes it hard to believe any words said in the past that expressed we were on the same page. There are some good bills we can all get behind this year. There are also bad ones, mean-spirited ones, including another attack, not on all unions, just teachers' unions, by our own Senator Brandis. Your educators are demoralized and stressed. They live in a climate of fear and yet are expected to provide a climate of safety and respect for their kids. They should be able to at least take comfort in knowing that their school board and superintendent are on their side. If educators are not getting an accurate picture of your position, I suggest that some communication is in order. Perhaps a higher salary starting salary will bring more teachers to the profession, but I doubt that it will be enough to compensate the loss of veteran teachers who will consider this final insult to be the straw that broke the camel's back. Thank you, and I wish you all a happy holiday.
Thank you. Next. Good morning.
You don't know if you can hear me or not. My voice is a little broken. Madam Chair, my name is Jason Saxon. I recently, I know a few of you. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, two-time cancer survivor, and I'm the president of the St. Pete High football boosters currently. And we've got some significant challenges. Some of you, like I said, I know, and some of you I really would like to get to know better, because just on the topical level that I'm working with, because I did get a call back from Mr. Smith, the CFO, this morning in regards to my inquiry. Is 60 days past my request. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm actually here today because we've got a significant deficiency in the implementation of the 504 and IEP plans, at least in 5 schools that I know of, and that's just starting off. St. Petersburg High School is where my son is, and the challenge is that here at Central, you have Michael and Scott and Miss Whitaker and Miss Stoltz, who are all very, very knowledgeable, very wonderful people who understand the need, understand the impact when a child that needs accommodations doesn't have them, that understands impact when the teachers don't have either the training, I don't want to say care, but time and or they don't have it, whatever it is, okay, to be able to implement the needs of the student that needs accommodations. To the degree that the folks here at Central were shocked, as were the very own area superintendent, Ms. Wright, which I've been requested to meet with multiple times. She told me last time we were here that she would have people contact me, and we weren't able to do that. I was never contacted. Hopefully we get there after this meeting. I don't have that much time, but my point is that there's such a big gap that our children are paying. And so as you guys sit and you ladies sit in these seats, you have time. These children don't. They've got this 4 years flies. And every day that goes by that they don't have the accommodations, which they do not have. They don't even have a testing center in St. Pete High or anybody to run it. Over 2,000 students there. How can this happen? You would ask yourself, if you have a teacher that hasn't given you guidance, let's say in your job, hasn't given you guidance in 40 days.
Thank you.
How would you respond? Would you be able to be successful?
Right.
And if you did have that, should you have that?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Grego, is Ms. Moet here? They have. Raise.
If you could please raise your hand.
Okay, the woman in the back that's standing, she's going to raise her hand this way so that you see her. There you go. She'll be able to speak with you and get more specifics.
Also, Ms. Wright is back there,
and
too.
bring some, bring whatever information
Ms.
is
Mullen's role?
necessary. Pardon?
Ms. Mullen's role is?
She's the Executive Director of
Executive
Exceptional
Director.
Student Education. Ms. Wright is also the Area Superintendent of St. Pete High, so they're both back there.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, so she's responsible for exceptional education students. Okay. Well, hopefully this will be able, to get to the bottom of it and see what's going on and see what changes we can make. So thank you. Thank you. All right, are there any other speakers? All right, with that then, the public participation portion is now closed. And we will end with the continuation of the positive thought at the end of the meetings, which seems to be extremely fitting for today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to continue this. So my thought for today is from our very own Dalai Lama. When educating the minds of our youth, we must not forget to educate their hearts. Have a wonderful holiday.
Good. Yeah, thank you.